Yo. Welcome back to Gridiron Podcast. I'm your host, JB. Joining me as always is Devontae Forever. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, Mario?
I'm good. Let me adjust your volume. You sound a little low. I don't know what the hell just happened. But anyway, regardless, yo, as you guys know, appreciate you guys checking out the show. Of course, obviously we're gonna talk about some NFL Week 10. We're gonna talk about a dumpster fire going on in a certain location out west. We're gonna look forward to Week 11. And as always, guys, if you guys don't know, make sure you comment down in the chat whether you're watching on Facebook, whether you're watching on YouTube. Appreciate the love and support, and we will put your comment up on the screen so that way, obviously, we can see what's going on. And it could be about week 10, week 11, how your team is doing. Rep your team. We got Bills Mafia in the building, Steeler Nation in the building. We know fans from Cincy be here, Miami, New England, all over the place. So appreciate everybody's love and support. But so let's get right into it, man. So Devontae, what's your just initial thoughts on NFL Week 10?
We had one of the better games of the. We had the best game of the year this weekend. So I guess obviously I would say that trumps all. But there's some teams who played good. There's some teams you didn't expect to beat. There's a lot of upset this week. Definitely a well thought out tough week, and just seeing people change from the trade deadline. There's a lot of stars that are coming up. There's a lot of teams that have promise, and there's a lot of teams who have been stinking up the joint, who are starting to find their groove. So definitely a good week.
Yeah, I thought it was a good week of football. We know, and we'll talk about a few of the games where sloppy play kind of got involved. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was good for the players. I don't know if it's necessarily good for the officials. I know the Steeler game has some horrendous calls. Obviously, we know the face mask that happened on Monday night, or lack thereof, that was not called. I think the officiating was a little off, but it goes back to that conversation. Is it more of a rule problem or is it more of a officiating problem? I
Mm-hmm.
think sometimes we don't agree with the rule, but then we kind of take it out on the officials when they're literally just calling it how they're supposed to. So, was there any games that stuck out to you? I know your boy came back, T.J. Watt, and like you said, Watt returns, Steelers win.
It was a common, simple, mathematic thing. That wasn't even a game I was concerned about. I knew we was gonna win that game. Off defense alone, I knew we was gonna win that game. I was a little scared when Minka didn't play, but other than that, I kind of knew we was gonna win that game. Um, and my defense showed why TJ Watt is a necessity. Um, with TJ Watt on the field, we are. I think there's no question that we are a top 5 defense when he's on the field. If he's not on the field, we're bottom of the league. It's bottom of the league type of team, and it just makes a complete difference. I was impressed with my offense finally, thank God. Um, but other than that, I did watch the Bucks Seattle game. Looked like the Bucks are starting to find their footing. Obviously, I don't know why it took them so long to realize just run the ball, but
Right.
ta-da! Look what happens. You run the ball. You look at the Packers. Look what happens when you just run the ball.
Dallas, look what happened when you stop running the ball.
Exactly. So
Right.
it was definitely an interesting week. There's a ridiculous amount of topics you can talk about this week.
Absolutely. I think the closeout thing. I went back and watched a lot of the games between yesterday,
Mm,
um, and I think one of the biggest things is, and this is what I love, but to piggyback on what you said, is running the ball. I feel like the Commanders, that's how they kept the ball from Philly last night. They ran the ball. Like you said, the Bucks ran the ball. The Bucks shut down Seattle's run. That's probably why they beat the Seahawks. Which the Seahawks is good, man. Like the Seahawks are really good.
mm,
And I'm not saying the Bucks are playing like world beaters to hang with them, but like they're a solid football team, like through and through. They got some holes they can fix in the draft and stuff like that. But like I think Seattle's here to stay. I don't think this is like some fluke type year. Like I
mm.
think Pete Carroll's back to his formula, and I think they're gonna be all right. We do have a comment. As always, Jessica Brown, appreciate the love. And then, of course, the resident Giant fan is back this week. Levante Arnwood, 7-2, baby, back. We know the Giants fans is where we're coming. Look, man, 7-2 is nothing to sneeze at. You know what I mean? And they lost to Seattle and Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
So, like,
Exactly.
two teams who are pretty good. We'll talk about Dallas losing at the end of the show. But yeah, so let's get right into it. Man. Let's basically get to what we came in to talk about. first thing we're gonna talk about this week is that crazy game that happened. Vikings, Bills. We know it went to overtime. We know it was going crazy. Like, look, man, before I even get into the actual question, just your overall thoughts on the game.
Oh, it was a fantastic game. It's the reason why the NFL is the NFL. Why it's probably the best. Why it's the best sport in the world. It was a classic game, crazy game that where literally anything can happen. So I don't think you can ask for anything better than that for definitely standard wise the game of the week.
You shocked at the outcome?
The Vikings winning, I picked the Bills, but like it wasn't a shock. Like the Vikings have definitely dangerous weapons, and with Josh Allen really not playing all week and stuff like that, and the injuries that the Bills still obviously have, no, that's not a shock. Like the Vikings are respected. I think the only reason why only people who were surprised is just the fact that like Kirk Cousins actually won a game on national television. That was like the only real that was the only real shocker to most people.
Right. Like, I wasn't necessarily shocked at the outcome. But I think the Vikings are a good team. I know this year seems to be a lot more of the question, who has said team played. But I'm like, that's every year in the NFL. You know what I mean? Somebody gets an easier schedule than somebody else, right? So like, I'm not worried about that. But I thought I thought the Vikings couldn't win. I was just more about like, I thought Buffalo was good, but that leads us to our question. Josh Allen, man. So obviously we know Kirk Cousins failed to convert a 4th and 3 inches on a quarterback sneak, which is one of the worst quarterback sneaks I ever saw. Why even let Kirk Cousins, who's probably the least built quarterback in the league, try to run that? I don't understand. But anyway, Buffalo stopped them. If you guys haven't saw the game, and all Josh Allen had to do was quarterback sneak himself, 6'5", 250 probably, get maybe an inch or two, game over, or take a safety and play defense. He fumbled the snap. Vikings recover for a touchdown. And then Josh Allen, he goes down, drives down, gets the field goal, but then he throws the pick to lose the game in overtime after the Vikings got a field goal. Now, obviously the turnovers, we know last week he had, I believe, 2 or 3. But so now like the turnovers are starting to become more and more. And they are playing better teams, of course, but should the Bills be worried about the AFC East? Because we know Miami is here. The Jets are probably the surprise team of the year. And right now they're sitting atop the AFC East. And New England, although they're at the bottom, obviously we know like if there's ever a quote unquote ultimate trap game, it's New England, because you never know what they're gonna throw at you. Should Buffalo be worried about the AFC East this year?
No, technically, unless you're talking about like seeding purposes for playoffs, unless you're talking about something like seeding wise, nah, like they go into the playoffs. Like the Buffalo Bills are going to the playoffs. Maybe not it may not be the number 1 seed title runs through Buffalo, because right now it's looking like title's going to run through Kansas City like always.
Right.
So you're going to have to go beat Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. That's kind of what we're heading to. But I don't think that's something that's a problem either. I don't think that's something really shocking either. Like if the Chargers or anybody in the AFC West were any somewhat of good, and they were playing and they beat the Chiefs or something like that, you don't worry that much because the Chiefs are going to the playoffs anyway.
Right. Sure.
So like I'm not that concerned with the Bills. I think if anything, there's still only person who's in Josh Allen's way pretty much is Josh Allen, and that's also on top of a week of where he really didn't practice with his elbow injury and stuff like that. But like, no, he's just like, this is what they needed. If the Bills just went 14-1, I would be a little bit more sketchy on them.
So you think it's a well-timed loss? Loss.
They finally lost. Yeah, they lost to a good team, because they probably were on that super high when they beat the Chiefs and stuff like that. And like, this is like a loss they actually needed, especially losing at home. This is like one of those just tough losses. You got to handle it.
Yeah. So I initially was worried. I'm not gonna lie. Bills dropped to 6-3. They go from number 1 seed in the AFC to 3rd in their own division. Now, obviously, we got a bunch of time left, so I'm not worried. Like, oh, they're gonna finish in third. Like, similar to what you said, they're going to the playoffs. I have zero worry about that or anything like that. I think Josh Allen will be fine. I didn't like how with the elbow he's leading with it to stiff arm. Got to start learning to take care of himself when he runs the ball. And then sometimes I feel like Josh Allen's arm is so strong, he feels like he could throw through coverage, and there's no such thing. You know what I mean? He don't got the strongest arm of all time, and even that person couldn't throw through coverage, which is how he threw the pick to Patrick Peterson. He double pumped it. My arm is strong. I could fit the ball in there. It gets picked off, of course. So I'm not worried about the Bills in the sense of that, but the AFC East is nothing to play with. You know what I mean? Like Miami's like it's time to say it. Miami's really good. Like, you know what I mean? Like they may not be out there beating teams 50-0, but they're really good. They can run the ball. They got a good coach with McDaniel, not to be confused with McDaniel, so we'll talk about later. We know Jalen Waddle's a monster. Tyree Hill's a monster. Obviously, me and you were both fans of Gesicki. I like the pickup of Jeff Wilson. They got dogs on defense. And then the Jets, man. The Jets are, like I said, obviously the Breece Hall injury hurt, but they keep rolling, man. You know what I mean? So, and obviously, you know, our guy Sauce Gardner is an animal. Definitely, easily defensive rookie of the year. Hell, making a case for defensive player of the year since Micah didn't do much in the Packer game. So, like, I'm not worried about the Bills in the sense of not making the playoffs, but I'm gonna say this: it's not a lock anymore. They win the AFC East. They still got to play New England. They still got to play Miami. They still got to play the Jets again. So, and Miami beat them. The Jets beat them. I don't think New England beat them, but still, you know what I mean? It's no cakewalk. And look, man, so I know Jeremy's in the chat right now, man. I'm not saying the Bills ain't making the playoffs, but I don't think it's a lock anymore that A, they're going to be the 1 seed like I thought. So my prediction was wrong. Or B, that they're going to even win the division. But I do think they're a lock to go to the playoffs. So before we jump over to the Vikings side of things, and let's get to these comments real quick. DJ R&B, what's good, bro? Bills is the best team in division, but they are picking the worst time to play bad football. Absolutely. We both said it. Week 8 and on, it's time to lock in, man. It's not the time to start dropping games. And we saw Dallas has now dropped one. Buffalo. Some teams are starting to kind of like, this is the wrong time for some teams, but this is also when you can get hot. You know what I mean? I think Tampa's now 1-2 in a row. The Packers just won. Who knows? That may they got a big game Thursday night, so that may spring load them. So who knows? Jeremy Ford, you was good, bro. He said, we didn't deserve to win that game. I'll be the first person to say, last 2 weeks, keep shooting ourselves in the foot. Red zone offense is horrible right now, man. Yeah, if it's one thing as like me being kind of like an old school football mind, number one, you can't fumble the football, and number two, you can't throw picks in the red zone. And lately, Buffalo's been doing both. You know what I mean? And Philly did both last night too as well, but it's the cardinal sin. You can't fumble the football. You cannot throw picks in the red zone. I do think Buffalo will be okay, but it's just bad timing. No, we'll be fine having a rough patch in the season right now. 6-3 will bounce back. Look, I'm not worried about the playoffs, but if Miami keep winning the Jets, that means it's going to be some must-win games down the stretch. DJ R&B, Bills versus Chiefs, AFC Championship. No other AFC team is a legit contender. Ravens will still the number 1 seed, though. Interesting. So if the Ravens take the number 1 seed, let's hypothetically they take the 1 seed, how are they not a legit contender then? That's what I don't get. If they take the 1 seed, they're a contender, right? I would think. What's your thoughts on that, Devontae?
Steelers will beat the Ravens next week, by the way.
So you don't see the Ravens as a threat either?
No, they are a threat, but they're more of like a dangerous 4 seed, 4-5 seed or whatever threat. They're gonna win the AFC North. I think they're gonna win the AFC North. Like I still like there's not enough time. Like I think the Bengals don't have it. I don't think none of the teams in the NFC North have it all together. So, but like they're gonna be like that team where it's like they might scare the life out of you in the playoffs. But like I don't think any team in the NFC North in the AFC North have enough right now to challenge Buffalo or Kansas City. Neither team were equipped for that yet.
Levante Armwood, don't sleep on Miami. Tua proving me wrong every game. Look, man, I'm not saying he's Mahomes. I'm not saying he's Brady of the old like Aaron Rodgers, but he's doing the thing, man. You know, I mean, he's doing his job. He's throwing the ball. He's getting the ball into the hand of his playmakers. Miami's good, man.
Mm-hmm.
DJ R&B, the ultimate contrarian. Although when we get to the Philly game, I'm gonna call him Nostradamus because he predicted the upset last night. Miami is okay, but they better pray for a playoff game home or they're a one and done. I think that means he's thinking they can't play in the cold. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, I mean it's tough. I mean you got track stars like that. We know snow slows them down. So we'll see how that goes. Although Tyreek Hill have no problem running in the cold in Kansas City. I'm gonna say that. And the way I feel about Waddle is he could play anywhere. Like Waddle
absolutely.
could, yeah, you know what I mean? So I'm not worried about the players so far. So I mean, I guess we'll see. Maybe Tua playing down in Tuscaloosa, but Justin Adams was good, bro. This when you see who's who, absolutely. We're at the time of year, like basically it should get out the pot. And I think there's teams that we're seeing who's getting off the pot, and there's teams who's locking in. So agree with that 100%. Nathaniel Butler was good, bro. Ravens don't need the one seed. I
No,
agree with that. I
no.
think the Ravens, look, man, the Ravens is one of those the Ravens, Steelers, got like teams like that. They're more dangerous when they're a wild card team on the road, right? And they all of a sudden, like you don't want like, for example, Kansas City. I think Kansas City might be more comfortable going to Baltimore than having a hot Ravens team come see them in the divisional round. You know what I mean?
They'll be the
I don't.
force.
So Nate Butler again. D needs to put the red cup down.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. I don't know what you're talking about. Listen, like they're gonna win the division. The Ravens are gonna win the division. We just gonna beat them next week. We give Lamar problems. I don't care. Nobody. Magically we give Lamar problems. Why? I wish I could tell you. I don't know why we give them problems. It's just Ravens Steelers always give each other problems.
So explanation on that, it says they will lose the first playoff game. They just have the easiest remaining schedule. I didn't take a look at the schedule, so he's just saying by the merit of the games that's how they're going to get it. I don't know though. That's a tough one. Nate, home field means nothing to Baltimore this year. We gave 2 games away at home this year. That is true. I think Baltimore plays actually better on the road than they do at home, so I completely agree. Ravens are like the Titans, soaring at the right time, but neither can beat Buffalo or Kansas City in January. I don't know about that. I think the NFL is more even this year, and that's not to say Mahomes ain't just as good as he ever was, but I think certain teams, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. When you don't got what I call the cheat code and Reek Hill, it's different. Now, I'm not saying Mahomes can't go throw 4 touchdowns. He just did it again. He's leading the league in most passing stats. If it's him or Tua who's leading the league in these stats. But it's tough, man. Joshim Hamilton, what's good, bro? What's good, man? Patriots aren't going out easy. About to beat them Jets again this weekend. Look, New England is one of those teams who every year we're like, oh, they're done. No Brady, they're done. And all of a sudden we look up there and they're in the wild card again. Now we know they got shellacked by Buffalo in the wild card last year. But like I said, they are the ultimate trap game team right now. You don't want to go see the Patriots. That defense is real. I don't care what nobody said. I know they got an issue with the offense and the quarterback. And I will take a little quick note to say, y'all can have Josh McDaniels back. We'll get to that later in the show. But if you're a Patriot fan, you can have Josh McDaniels back tomorrow. I promise you. We'll trade him. All right. Jeremy Ford, Buffalo and New England going at it in the chat. All right, so let's get to the other side of that game. And I want to talk about it from the Vikings standpoint. Justin Jefferson, obviously we all saw the catch now, right? Of course, the catch was incredible. Devontae is one of the biggest proponents of Justin Jefferson. When the whole battle between him and Jamar Chase was going on, you've always been team Jefferson. He got off to a rough start this year, had a great first game, second game against Philly kind of got locked down there. I mean, but they got a good secondary out there. How are the Vikings real? How far can you see them going? Like, are they a real team? Because obviously they're like, who have they beat? Who have they played? They lost to Philly, their only tough game, and now they just beat the Commanders, who beat Philly, and then obviously they just beat the Bills, who everyone had as probably the Super Bowl favorites.
Vikings are a strong team if they get out of their own way. The Vikings have some of this, like the games they win. And the only difference is the Vikings are winning the close games that they lost last year. So like they make a lot of bonehead, very dumb decisions at times.
Right.
Very, very foolish decisions, or like like Kirk Cousins fall, and just flat back on a snap. How? Um, Twice. They should have won the game by Dalvin Cook just catching the ball.
Right.
Uh, just catching that one pass. That's a touchdown. Um, they shoot themselves in the foot every week. The only difference is they're winning.
Okay.
Um, so like I think that they can at least, barring health wise, if they can just continue to remain healthy for the rest of this year. Um, I think that they can at least get to the second round, depending on who they draw NFC Championship. Because there's not, because I think if they get if they draw an NFC East team, they'll probably get to the NFC Championship. I don't trust nobody in the NFC East to go win a game on the road. Obviously, barring Philly, obviously.
Sure. Um, I think the Vikings is just as good as all these other quote unquote top teams that we see in the league, right? I think this year's probably the closest it's been. Sure, you have a team like the Bills who go out and blow somebody out by 50, or Miami put up 40 points back to back games. Philly was stomping teams, and now you see it start to shrink down. Kansas City, we know the passing attack is real, but the defense ain't. So like I think I think the Vikings are just as good as everyone. I think the run game is good with Dalvin Cook, of course, and Ham. Obviously, we know the receiving core is good, and Hawkinson, as you saw, he plays a vital role, especially when it comes in blocking for Dalvin Cook on that 75-yard touchdown. So I think the Vikings are real. I don't think they're world beaters. To be honest, I don't think there's any world beaters in the league this year. So like, I think they. I mean, I know it's kind of a vague answer, but I think they can go as far as almost any other team, which is they can go to the Super Bowl. I could see them beating Philly or even getting the 1 seed now that Philly lost and they're tied, even though Philly has the tiebreaker. So I think the Vikings are real. I just don't see no team in the league this year that's just like running away with it to the point where I'm like, oh, the Vikings can't beat them. Now that doesn't mean those teams can't beat the Vikings either, but like I think they're on par. I think they're good. And while we're at it, we'll get to the comments. Basically, Joshua Hamilton was good again, bro. He said Kirk needs some respect on his name. He's playing well. Like I'm not saying he's vintage Brady, but like, hey man, you win them close games. That's how you get to all of a sudden you're 8-1.
Not yet.
He just said everything you just said.
Not yet. Not yet. Just wait.
What are you waiting for, the primetime game?
Yes, yeah. I need to see him win a playoff game first.
All right.
Just like
Nate
Lamar.
Butler, facts.
I gave Lamar his props when he won a playoff game.
DJ R&B, NFC is wide open. I agree. And actually, I changed the NFC to NFL is wide open. Every E-Man too. What's good, bro? Niner gang in the house. 49ers going to the Super Bowl. We're getting healthy right on time. My question is, why y'all always hurt? That's my question. Who the hell is your strength and you should go be the strength and conditioning coach, bro? Like, who the hell like is leading the Niners? Like, I don't understand.
Not with Jimmy G. Not with Jimmy G.
Look, man. I'm not gonna call myself a Garoppolo fan because that'd be too strong. Like I'm not a Garoppolo fan, but I think they're better with him. I really do, man.
I do too. But I'm just saying, like, if you play the 49ers close, he's not somebody where I expect you to win the game. That's not a quarterback. I think he can win your game. If you need a game-winning touchdown, I don't think he's going to get you the game-winning touchdown. He may drive you to the 40-yard line to kick the field goal to tie the game, but he's not going to be like, he's not the one who's going to get you the touchdown or the 2-point. I don't trust him in a 2-point conversion with the game on the line. I just don't think he's not that type of quarterback to me. Like, he's a great game manager. The reason why, if you think about it, Tom Brady is a phenomenal game manager. He'll hold the ball, keep the ball away from you, and make a lot of mistakes. The only difference is if Tom Brady needs to go win the game, Tom Brady can go win the game.
He'll do what it takes. Sure. I get that, but
Jimmy G's not that type of quarterback.
I mean, do you think Jimmy G can play what I call the tool role, which is just get the ball into the hands of the playmaker? McCaffrey, Debo, Brandon, like just get them. No.
Right. And like one of the things in the NFL is you have to throw people open. I don't think Jimmy G's throwing somebody open in prime time.
All right, let's get to some of these other comments. E-Man again, both Eagles and Vikings will lose their home playoff games. Sheesh. That means they both going home in the divisional round. That's tough. We got this one just says Facebook user, please comment your name. I can't see it. I want to shout you out for supporting the show. maybe in Madden. I think that's in regards to the Vikings. So I don't know who don't like the Vikings, but man, again, Kirk is winning games that don't matter when the lights are bright. He'll fold. That's similar to what you said with the prime time. Look, man, Joshim Hamilton. D, look at the numbers. The couple years he's up there with top QB in numbers.
Oh, I believe it. He's a regular season stat, great quarterback. But I gotta see you win a playoff game.
So you're saying he's good enough to be in the league, of course, but
yes, absolutely. He'll be a starter 9 times out of 10, no matter where he goes, depending on. In most teams, he's gonna be a starter, and it's not even close. It's just, can you win a playoff game? Like, I was very hard on Lamar Jackson when he first came in, because I was like, I don't care.
Sure.
Win a playoff game. You gotta win a playoff game. And my rookie quarterback, hell no, he ain't proven. Why? Because you gotta win a playoff. Show me you can win a playoff game. Where at home, I don't really care. Show me you can win at home a playoff game, like really respect your game. Like, the reason why, like, I think, like, to me, Drew Brees is one of the biggest statistician quarterbacks you ever seen. Drew Brees got a Super Bowl. Drew Brees has won playoff games. He gets my respect. Why? Because you won playoff games. If you can't do it under the biggest lights, when like people are really playing the most lockdown, when they're playing their hearts out of true lockdown defense, not we got next week, it's now or never. Win a playoff game. Because if he could win playoff games and stuff like that, don't you think he would still be in Washington?
Okay. E-Man, again, yeah, they're frail out there. Definitely the new strength. Yeah, they definitely the new strength coach out there. He's right. Jimmy ain't clutch. Our defense usually is. We were dropped the interception from going last year. Very true. Very true. Jeremy Forgy, Vikings Bills Super Bowl, calling it now. I think that's not going out on a limb, so I get it.
Crazy.
I do think it's going to be. I think we're going to have a Super Bowl. Nobody like picked. I don't know who that is, but I just think Nate Weller, bro, you had Big Ben as your QB for your whole life. Relax.
What you mean? First off, that's 2 bowls. But my point is, if Ben wasn't winning,
Big Ben has played complimentary football his whole life.
But you gonna tell me he didn't win that Super Bowl against the Cardinals when he did that dime of a throw to Santonio Holmes? That's what it's about. Can you be trusted with 2 minutes left in the game? I said Lamar proves he could be.
He's saying Lamar has not. It's been his show every year. Basically,
I agree with you. With you. But what I'm saying is, when Lamar showed me he could do the same thing he did in the regular season as what he did in the playoffs, that's when I became a true fan.
Let me ask you this, and then we're gonna get to Eagles and being upset by the Commanders. If Lamar had that defense that Flacco did,
oh my god,
they win the Super Bowl, I think, rather easily.
And if you remember, my pick for to win the Super Bowl actually this year before was the Ravens, because I thought
Baltimore.
I picked Baltimore to win the Super Bowl because they had J.K. Dobbins. They had like 40 injuries last year. Like the entire medical staff got fired. They had like 16 torn ACLs. I picked Baltimore Ravens to win the Super Bowl this year, and the defense just flopped. But like, that's not his fault. That ain't his fault.
I agree with you.
He proved to me that he could play in the playoffs, and he already proved to me. Let me put it that way. He already did it.
All right. So now we're gonna jump into the next thing, and that is the Commanders. They upset Philadelphia on Monday Night Football. So obviously, Eagles, they've been playing a little sloppy these last few games, and if you keep winning, I feel like you never correct it. Well, last night it caught up to them. The team with the highest turnover differential of plus 15. Somehow last night had 4 turnovers, obviously season high. We just talked about how some teams get hot at the right time and some teams cool down at the wrong time, right? Should Philly be worried about being that team that's cooling down at the wrong time?
No, it was one game. The Redskins just played a good game. Like, they have a really good defense. They challenge you defensively. By the way, give Heineke the job. Stop playing. Do not go for that. Don't you dare go back to Carson Wentz. If they go back to Carson Wentz, you're just telling me that like you're trying to prepare for this draft. That's just stupid.
Right.
That'd just be stupid. No, they needed to win. They needed to lose a game. They're playing a little too perfect. They needed to. Only thing that really happened to me that I saw was that like the Eagles, that coach, it was a little
Sirianni.
It was like it's his little learning lesson. Like, he finally got out coached. It happens to a young coach at times. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we've seen vets literally get out coached. Like let's be real here. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like, so like with that being said, like, do I think it's a big deal that they lost? No. Do I think that we're gonna go 17-0 anyway?
No,
No.
yeah.
Like,
It's
so like, nah, it ain't that. It really not that big of a deal. Do I think they still gonna get the number 1 seed? Yeah. Like, so it's like,
So you think this don't hurt it at all about
no,
the 1 seed?
no, not at all. If anything, it's just gonna be a bunch of. If anything, that loss benefited probably like the Commanders more. Like, now that they already lost, I think they're gonna sweep Dallas. They're gonna sweep the Giants. They
Oh, okay.
they might sweep the Giants. Actually, no. I think if between the Cowboys and the Giants, I think somehow the Giants magically are another team that could possibly beat the Eagles. But I think they're gonna stop. The Cowboys don't got enough. But we'll get into that later. So I'll just stop there. We'll get into that.
All right. So I think Philly should be worried in the sense of ever since Jordan Davis went out, they can't stop the run. Now, we gave him a pass against the Texans because we both love Pierce, right? We both said Pierce is a monster. He's running on everybody. This is back-to-back weeks. And I'm not saying Washington can't run the ball, because when we did our division winners, I said, although I picked them to finish last in the division, they're talented. Washington ain't no pushover team. And they could run the ball. Shout out to him. But at the same time, Philly having a problem stopping the run. And my only issue with that is I'm not saying Philly not going to make the playoffs, and they might be the one seed. But look who's left. Who's going to be competing with them? San Fran, they have always been able to run the ball. Dallas, when they want to, they can run the ball, even though they just got to learn to stop throwing the ball 40 times a game. The Giants, obviously, that's all they got. They don't throw it. They run the ball. You know what I mean? Look out to Seattle with Walker the third. Look out. Like, all the teams left could run the ball. Even like those teams on the fringe, the Packers could run the ball. Tampa's starting to run the ball a little bit more. So they all run the ball. And the Falcons can run the ball. So a lot of the teams left, they're going to have to be able to stop their run. I know some might say Davis is out, and that obviously 350 pounds can run, chase down backs. That is a big thing. But I think they should be not worried, but they should be on edge. They should not take any teams lightly going forward, or they might find themselves in a wild card instead of the divisional winner. Because if they think they're gonna walk in and beat up Dallas again and beat up the Giants and beat up Washington, like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Because they just got upset, and you know my thoughts. There's no upset with a division rival. There's no upset with the division rival. They just got beat. They played sloppy, but they've been playing sloppy the last 3 weeks. All right, let's get to the comments. First, let's shout out 2 people who called it. Jeremy, your boy called it. He called it last week. I don't know if you remember in the chat. He said Washington was going to beat Philly. Like, and we both of us said hell no. So give him his props. And then, of course, yesterday on Facebook, DJ R&B put out Eagles lose tonight. Everybody was like flaming them in the comments. It was like, nah, whatever. And then sure enough, they beat them. He put that, I think, like 3 or 4 hours before game time. Nate Butler, Eagles defense looked bad, and bad penalties. Absolutely. Especially the roughing the passer at the end.
Oh yeah, on the knee.
Bro, he took a knee. Like, bro, you had to. I know you saw it. You know what I mean? It was just extra. Like, for him to be a 13-year veteran to do that, it's silly, man. Absolutely silly. Next comment, we got Shane Fink, the bro. What's good, bro? Appreciate you checking out the show. Philly fan in the house too. Bad game by Eagles, even worse officiating. Yeah, the face mask, which I said we were going to talk about, well, the lack thereof, obviously was a face mask. I don't know how the hell they missed that. Kind of reminds me of the Bills game where Gabe Davis dropped the ball and Buffalo had 12 men on the field like on a third down stop. I don't know how the hell that happens, but hey, man. Like I said, the officiating's been kind of off this entire season. And I'm not one to always blame the refs, but it's been bad this year. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
It's actually been bad. But yeah, bad game by Philly. I do think it's better for them than to all of a sudden lose week 16 and all of a sudden they get bumped in the divisional round. DJ R&B, who called the game again. Classic trap game against division rival. Don't hit panic button. Eagles are a year away from being really good. We'll get the 1 seed this year and maybe win a playoff game. Not Super Bowl bound, though. A lot of folks don't believe in Philly this year in the sense of, like, they're going to be the 1 seed who goes on, wins the home playoff game, wins the home championship game, and gets to the Super Bowl, which is odd because usually when you see a team start to get, 8-0, 9-0, stuff like that, we count like here they come, but a lot of people don't believe in them this year. Joshim Hamilton, AJ Brown had them Steelers defensive backs looking like junior varsity.
That's a fact. That's all fact. That's a fact. That's bro. We went and got a cornerback the week after that because he did that. But hey, you know what? TJ Watt back. That's all that matters.
Look, man, like
my case.
I don't think I've ever said a bad thing about AJ Brown in my life, but I will say that pick that Hurts threw, that's on Brown because it went straight through his hands and he tipped it up and he right to the guy. I've never said a bad word, but sometimes lately, especially this past few games, he's been actually dropping the ball a little bit.
Besides that game, he called everything on me, but he called everything on my team. I'll tell you that much.
Like, Joshim, Jason, speaking facts, this is the time of year need a run game and a run defense. Absolutely. Nate Butler, Washington was over 50% on third down. Absolutely. Especially because they were running the ball on third. It wasn't even a secret. They were running. It was 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. It's a run.
Yeah,
and
Brian
Philly
Robinson
just could not stop it.
People.
Right. They couldn't stop it. They couldn't tackle. It's the first time I didn't see Philly gang tackle a lot. You know what I mean? Usually the corners is getting in on the action and tackling, but not this time. And then, of course, we got Levante Armwood. How do you feel about Deshaun Watson coming back, and does he make the Browns better immediately? Yes, I do think he makes them better, but not enough to, obviously, I think their playoff hopes are done. So I'm not saying they're going to the playoffs. I don't think they're going to all of a sudden come back and somehow steal the division. But I do think they may make them better. I actually like the idea of him and Cooper next year. So I think next year, I think the Browns will be better. But for this year, I think he'll come in, he'll get the rust off, and then I actually think he's going to lose that first game back against the Texans, but that's just a feeling. I'm not like, you know what I mean? I wouldn't bet anything on it, but I think he might lose that first game against Houston. What's your thoughts? And do you think he makes them better? Do you think the same old Browns?
No, I mean, it's the same old Browns, meaning in the way of like, they're going to have to shake that rust off. I hope it work out for him. I really do. Because if not, the Browns' future is royally screwed. Like, they traded away. Only way they would even attempt, I guarantee you, let me put it this way. If Deshaun Watson does not pan out for them, or something gets appealed, or like if there's another misconduct thing and he can't play anymore, something crazy happens to Deshaun Watson, the only way they would even get any, they gave up all the first round picks. They pretty much emptied their entire cap space to pay him that much money. The only way they would get any type of draft capital back to restore their future is they would end up trading Nick Chubb. That would be one of the dumbest moves they would possibly make. But that'd be the only way. But do I think the Browns are gonna challenge? No, it's too late for that. It's what do you mean? What, week 12 when he gets week 12 or something like that?
Yeah.
When he get back. So like, no, that is way too late. But I think I'm interested to see, they're gonna need more than just Deshaun Watson, and I think just the Cleveland Browns fans are gonna have to be patient with bro ain't played football in 2 years. So like,
yeah,
he hasn't played real football. Preseason don't count. He hasn't played real football in like 2 years, bro. So it's like they're gonna have to really be patient, and like too much scrutiny. He already got a lot of scrutiny on his name now. So it's like if you continue to add to that, that's where you've seen a lot of quarterbacks self-destructing on different teams.
All right, Joshim. Deshaun Watson, not immediately next season as far as Watson. I agree. I think next year the Browns are going to be good, though. I still like their defense. He said he better work out. They traded their whole team's future. That is true. They need Deruve as the GM. Shout out to Deruve.
Whoa, guys. Whoa.
All right, man. Let's get to the next thing we talk about. And this is finally time we talk about the NFC East, man. We've kind of held off on it for a little while. Like we talked about it when we did our division winners. But look, man, they're 26-11 through the entire year. If anybody don't know, that's the best record a division has had through 10 games in NFL history. And this was a division we joked about just last year, being the NFC least. Although last year they did send 2 teams to the playoffs, Philly and Dallas. But obviously right now the standings are still the same as last week. Eagles 1, Giants 2, Cowboys 3, and of course Washington at the bottom. How many NFC East teams you have making the playoffs this year? Because as of right now, they have 3, and with Washington being like just outside.
2.
Still 2?
They'll have 2.
Who do you
So I
got?
have Eagles, and it really it's like a head or tails kind of thing for me between the Giants and the Cowboys.
Okay.
Besides the Eagles, they both going home week 1. I mean, the Cowboys don't win no damn playoff game. Um, yeah, like the Eagles are going for sure. The Giants and Cowboys are going to be like that mixture of the wild. They're going to get a wild card spot, but it's the NFC East. Yes, are they like playing better this year? Absolutely, but it's the NFC East. We all know every year one of them screws each other out. Uh. Of the playoffs every year. That's why
Sure.
that's why normally there's always a division game in that somewhere in that division at week 17, and they always screw somebody out of
Right.
not making the playoffs every single year.
Right.
So it'll be it's going to be very interesting. But I think they're only sending 2 teams. I can't see them outlasting like an Atlanta or something like that because they're all gonna. I feel like besides the Eagles, I think everybody else are gonna just end up splitting games between that entire division,
Right.
which is gonna screw one of each other out anyway. So like I don't think either of those teams don't have enough to outlast like a Green Bay, an
Sure.
Atlanta, a Tampa Bay maybe, and stuff like that. That's why I only got them sending 2 games.
All right, so I'm at the point now, and I can't believe I'm saying this about the NFC East, who I didn't think was as bad as everybody joked on, but like I didn't think they were going to be like this through 10 weeks. But I'm at the point I don't see how they don't send 3 teams to the playoffs, and I do think it's going to be right in order: Philly, New York, Dallas. I think Washington will be play spoiler to somebody else, but I do think they're going to send 3. The only reason is not because I think this is the best division of all time, or anything like that. I'm looking around the rest of the NFC. Tampa will win the South, and although I did pick Atlanta to go to the playoffs from the jump, something is still off with Atlanta. You know what I mean? I think maybe if they had Ridley or something, okay, fine. That run game is real though. Shout out to Patterson, who played every position known to man. Like, but I can't see 2 teams coming out the South. I look to the North. Green Bay might be able to steal a spot. I don't know. I really don't know about Green Bay. I know they beat Dallas. I'm not hype on Green Bay
if they run the ball.
So now I look to the West, and I think Seattle and San Fran will battle for the division, and the other one will go to the playoffs. The Cardinals and Rams, I don't think are making the playoffs. So by default, I at least have 3 teams. Now maybe the Packers get in. I don't know. You know what I mean? That's still tough. But I think the Niners or Seattle, whoever don't win the division, and I think the other 2 wild cards come from the NFC East. So I think by default now.
I don't see them sending 3 teams. Nah, like especially if anybody's gonna lose out, it's probably gonna be Dallas. Like Dallas is not playing good football, bro. Like they're just not. Like Mike McCarthy is just trying to give the game give his play. Like he's just trying. And I think the thing is about that is Cowboy fans just need to understand that Dak is not an elite quarterback. He's an I quarterback. He's I. Like that's what it is. Like
he's okay, right.
Okay. Right. He's not a star. He's not a star yet. Like he's not a star yet. He made some stupid old decisions. Like he's just like, do I think Dak has a promise? Yes. Do I think Dak has a future? Yes. Right. I think he's a starter in this league. Yes. Is he an elite quarterback? No.
Absolutely not.
Is he an I quarterback? Yes. Now, so what that means is run the ball so then he can benefit off that. For example, you look at the Titans have been to the playoffs every year for the last 4 or 5 years and change. They got Ryan Tannehill as quarterback. Is Ryan Tannehill an elite quarterback? Absolutely not in any stretch form of imagination. But they're in the playoffs every year because they know how to run, because they just run the ball and tell him, listen, don't screw it up. Don't screw it up. But guess what? One thing is, that's the same thing they did. That's the same thing the Niners do with Jimmy G. Now, will I ever win them the Super Bowl? No, they won't. No. But the thing is, the Niners have won playoff games. The Titans have won playoff games. When's the last time the Cowboys won a playoff game? I don't even think I was born yet.
No, you were. They beat Seattle in the wild card round a few years ago.
When was that?
This was Dak's rookie year, and then they went to they beat Seattle in the wild card, and then they went and lost to Green Bay.
That was actually impressive. Like,
so that's 1 year. That's one.
That's 1 year. So what was that? 2014 maybe?
Nah, this is 2016. Dak and Zeke's rookie year.
Okay.
But
I was a high school. I was a senior in high school. I was a senior in
point
high school. I was 18.
point taken. Point taken.
I was
Point
18.
taken.
Like they don't. No, that's one win. All right, and then you look before that win. I guarantee
You
it's
weren't
five.
born yet. You weren't born yet.
That's my point. You go from
I got it.
Dak Prescott to them to Landry as a coach. Are you serious?
Right.
Are you serious? Like because they don't know how to finish, they don't know how to close, and because of that, and now they think because of America's team and blah 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 blah, America's team doesn't have us 100% number one because now you already got the fans and everybody else saying they miss Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush is the same quarterback. He's okay. And the thing is, Dak Prescott is not. He doesn't make star decisions. He's just not a star.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Like I said, now I will say Dak Prescott's the only quarterback I ever seen who at the end of the season is back to top 10, not top 10, top 15. And then by the start of the new year, it's like, oh, he's back to top 8. You know what I mean? I don't know how he keeps doing this. But look, man, I think at this point, I think Philly I think they probably will win the division. I'm looking at the Giants' schedule. They may lose 2 games the rest of the year unless they just choke. You know what I mean? So I think they're going to playoffs, and then Cowboys. Like I think they, if it's only 2, I think Dallas will be the odd team out. But at this point, I'm just looking around the NFC, and I don't see who else is going to take their spot. Maybe Atlanta, maybe Green Bay, because Green Bay just beat them, but they have also already choked away a bunch of games to now. I don't know if they can catch Dallas. So let's get to these comments. Joshie Hamilton, I see 3. Commanders won't make it. Yeah. I think we both agree. Yeah. Jeremy Forgy, the NFC is wide open this year. Agree, 100%. Every E-Man, Giants coach seems special. He has those young guys hungry, believing in themselves. I think Giants and Eagles make the playoffs. Look, man, I always say it in football, and it's kind of redundant, and we all know it, but in football, coaching matters. You know what I mean? Like if you can take these guys, and all of a sudden your special teams guys running a little harder down the field as gunners, and they go and they force the fumble, and now all of a sudden you just flip the game right there. You know what I mean? Just that hustle, that effort. He got the Giants playing well. I know we could sit there and pick apart Danny Dimes and all that, and the passing game and the lack of receivers, but they going out there and they doing it, man. Like, so shout out to Dayball, shout out to the Giants. Levante Arnwood, I don't see us losing more than 3 games the rest of the season. I'm looking at the schedule, and like I said, I think they'll lose 2 of the divisional games, right? I think they may lose to Dallas, they may lose to something, right? I think they'll lose to Philly, but yeah, I don't see much more. Joshie Hamilton, now Geno Smith done surprise every damn body. Resurgence in his career. Yeah. Look, man. Nobody saw this. Come on, bro. Like, you had to be crazy to say you saw this. Like you're lying. Like Josh Hamilton again. Tannehill's a game manager. Really, all you need the Trent Dilfer way. If you got a team like Ray Lewis and Ed Reed in them to back you up, and teams only. I don't think the Baltimore gave up 1,000 yards combined that entire season rushing the ball. Ain't no defense in the league like that. Tannehill, he played well until he threw the pick to Logan Wilson in the divisional round against the Bengals. Like, he played well.
But like game managers, I agree the Trent Dilfer way. That's classic. But no, like I agree, but it's just the fact of like, well, what you gonna do when your defense has been bailing you out all year, and your defense actually needs you to bail them out?
Sure. That's fair.
That's the con of having a game manager. Like,
I could say you do it to Josh Allen way and just run the ball and not throw it, but Jeremy, I'm sure I'm gonna have something to say about that. Jeremy Forgy, Seahawks will be one and done in the playoffs. Geno got no playoff experience. It will be between the Niners and the Vikings. So he's saying Niners Vikings NFC Championship.
That's a hell of a season for the Seahawks, anyway.
Yeah, that's something nobody expected. The Niners is that
all those draft picks too.
And shout out to E-Man, my guy. But the Niners they're that tough squad, bro. They come out of nowhere, but they always been there. They just get hurt in the middle of the year every year. Then they get their players back and they start rolling. And all of a sudden, that Chargers team that everybody's saying is supposed to win the Super Bowl and get to the Super Bowl, now all of a sudden, Niners just beat them. You know what I mean? Oh, Chargers got injuries. Well, show me a team that don't got more injuries than San Fran, right?
Every year.
So, Joshie Hamilton, that's fair. Got to be able to rely on him to close out if they need, and he's not cold-blooded. I agree. Yeah, I definitely agree as well. All right. So the next thing we talking about and what we close out the show before we look forward to week 11. The Raiders, man. Now everybody in this chat, and obviously Devontae is self-explanatory. Y'all know me well. Y'all know I'm always going to be a fan of the Raiders. And y'all know majority of the time I'm very honest about the Raiders. You don't ever hear me say, "Oh, they're gonna win the Super Bowl," and all that, anything like that. This is the first time in my life that I'm like out of, and because I feel bad, I think the Raiders should just blow it up. Because and it's not because the players are that bad or anything like that. It's just because I think organizational, it's over. Like the same way we make fun of Dallas with Jerry Jones, only because the Raiders aren't as like popular as the Cowboys. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. We don't draft well. And the ones we hit on, we trade away. Khalil Mack, Amari Cooper, we trade them away. Derek Carr, I think, has now 7 coaches in 9 years or 6 coaches in 9 years. Every time he's made the playoffs, they fired the coach the year after. Like, it doesn't make sense, bro. And then we go out and get Josh McDaniels, who I didn't want in the first place, but and he gets off to this horrible start. The play calling is abysmal and everything. And then Mark Davis, who's the owner of the team, obviously son of like the late great Al Davis, quote unquote, just win baby. He's doing an excellent job. The world is just all instant gratification. It's the only time in my life I contemplating like dropping the damn Raiders. Like, because I'm like, bro, what do you mean? Here comes this guy, right? Josh McDaniels has literally been called the boy wonder before they called Sean McVay that. The boy wonder, right? Who coached Brady, of all people. And I'm not saying Brady's easy to coach, but it's Tom Brady, right? And the play calling is bad. The route tree is horrible. The situation was bad. He challenged the play in the on the first drive of the first quarter. Why? And guess what happened at the end of the first half? Raiders almost didn't score because they didn't have any timeouts on the clock. Just horrible. He's a horrible head coach, bro. And I do think because Mark Davis now feels dumb for it, I think they're going to keep him for a while. But I'm at the point, I say blow it up. I say I feel bad for Derek Carr. Let him go. I don't care where you trade him. Obviously, that means let Devontae Adams go because he ain't going to play. You might as well not even re-sign Josh Jacobs, who's balling this year. I think he has like 8-9 touchdowns now. You might as well not even re-sign him. Waller looking like he's going to get traded in the offseason regardless. Renfro is not playing well in the system. They just cut Jonathan Abrams for no reason after he probably played his best game as a Raider. They just cut him. I don't know what's going on. We brought in all these Patriots players. like, I don't know what's going on to the Raiders right now, but all I know is as soon as Mark Davis came out and said he's doing an excellent job, I was like, I'm done. Because I know what he's doing. All he's doing is defending his pick. Because the Raiders, I don't know if you guys know in the chat, the Raiders told their GM, Reggie McKenzie, they literally told him, hire whoever you want. He went through a process. He hired Dennis Allen, the coach of the Saints, defensive coach. It was like, look, we know the offense is going to be okay. Let's go out and get a defensive coach. Mark Davis came in and said, no, we're going to hire Josh McDaniels. Just completely usurped McKenzie's pick. And they're paying for it now. I think it's karma. I think the Raiders are a bad organization with good talent and good players. I do think Carr is a good leader. Now I'm not why he's crying at the press conference. I don't know about all that. I don't know, man. Derek is. I've always called him the pastor's son, right? Who just happens to play football. But I think at this point, and I didn't see much with a new coach in the first year anyway. I thought next year they'll be better, but at this point, man, they got the game against the Broncos this weekend. And though they might beat the Broncos because they're kind of in a similar boat. But I think the Raiders, man, like I'm at the point now where I'm like, just blow it up. Trade Carr, let him go play for a coach for more than 2 years, despite throwing close to 5,000 yards. Obviously, that means trade Adams, don't sign Jacobs. Like, I'm done with this regime. Mark Davis needs to sell the team. Take it away, Devontae. What's your thoughts on who's most to blame for the Raiders season?
Everybody, but I would definitely start off with your head coach. I never thought Josh McDaniels' plays was that exciting. I'm sorry. Like, I never thought they were that exciting. He had Tom Brady, where they ran a lot of smart run the ball, pass plays, pass. And every once in a while, he would run like a nice little screen to Edelman or something like that, little screen pass type thing to Edelman. I never thought his playbook was that crazy. Yep. I never thought I thought he called smart plays. I thought he called very smart plays. But he was. I never saw him as no wizard play caller like Andy Reid or something like that. Like, that's where I was looking at people like, what do I see that I don't?
He had Tom Brady.
Yeah, like, I'm just saying, like, what you mean? And then you look at I just don't understand. Like, y'all got to do something. Like, I feel like I think it's your GM. I think like the way you guys just get rid of talent and get nothing in return, and like because you guys don't draft well, I think it starts just from like the head, the owners, and up. Like, you guys need a whole new control change. I think it's more than a head coaching thing for me. I think it's just like, I gave your life away to get Devontae Adams, which as anybody should, as everybody else, I would too. Then I re-signed him to a big-ass contract that pretty much was responsible for resetting the market for wide receivers. Because you guys did all of that, and the way you guys look this bad, like, you guys give up Ngakoue, you guys get Chandler Jones, you think you have something, and then, like, you're cutting the safeties. He's not playing. Chandler Jones ain't playing, doing the damn thing. Right. Yeah, no, you guys are definitely not paying for the money you guys just spent on the Legion Stadium. Y'all are playing abysmal. You guys just lost to somebody who was an analyst. He was doing a show like we doing the show right now. Now imagine me getting up and going to coach the Steelers on Sunday. What?
Bro, he was on First Take on Tuesday and beat the Raiders on Sunday.
That don't make no sense. That don't make no sense. That don't make no sense to me. That makes no sense to me in any way. Like, that man probably got hired fresh off Indeed. Are you serious? But y'all gotta start at the. I think I can't speak on it the way you just did, but like, I would just say, like, y'all gotta fire. But from what I see on the outside, as obviously not a Raiders fan, I would say y'all gotta fire everybody up top. Before you even think cutting players.
Look, before we get to these comments, man, I'm gonna close out the Raider part of the show and just say, like, Derek Carr's not playing well. I don't think he wants to play in McDaniel's system. Going back to when I was like watching camp and stuff like that, I was like, he looks off. He looks like Gruden. We know what I think of him as a coach, but Carr looked like he was excited to play in that system, right? Receivers looked like they were excited to run routes in that system. Renfro don't want to run those routes. Adams don't run. Adams literally said on the Pivot podcast, which shout out to them, that's a great platform. He literally said it's the hardest thing he ever had to learn in his life was McDaniel's system. And I'm like, okay, cool if you got Brady in there to help spear that, right? Because we know Brady is the superior football mind. But Derek, it's his first year in the system. How is he supposed to teach Renfro? How is he supposed to teach Adams? How is he supposed to teach these guys? I think Waller, I do think he's hurt, but I don't think he's in a rush to get back. You know what I mean? This is a team that won 10 games last year. 10 games. They were excellent in close games. You know what I mean? And now all of a sudden, but that's the built-in excuse. They lost 6 games this year. They lost 5 games this year by 1 score, less than 1 score. Mm-hmm. So of course he's gonna be like, well, look, man, we're in every game, blah blah blah. Besides the Saints game, but I don't know, man. Now next year, for all I know, what's gonna happen is it's gonna be my worst nightmare. Next year, the Raiders are gonna come out, start 4-0, and they're gonna be like, see, McDaniels need to stay. But it's fool's gold. I'm not saying McDaniels shouldn't be an offensive coordinator. I think he's good at that. But in terms of commanding the team, inspiration, special teams, looking over the defense, like making sure Patrick Graham, and I have a problem with him too, don't get me wrong. He's just not a good head coach, man. Like, I'm sure he'll go back to the Patriots if he gets fired and be okay. But the last thing I'll speak on is Chandler Jones motherfucking need to be arrested because he stole money, because Max Crosby's holding down the defensive line by himself. The rookie Bilal Nichols, he's pretty good rookie interior guy. He's not Aaron Donald or nothing, But Max Crosby doing it himself. You know what I mean? Chandler Jones, he just stole money. Like, he literally just stole money. So that's all I'm gonna say to the Raiders. Let's get to these comments. Josh Hamilton, McDaniels will be running back to Bill. Absolutely, he's going straight back to the Patriots. He'll probably, y'all can have him this season. Like, matter of fact, he can go on first take tomorrow, then be coaching for New England on Sunday. All right, like
literally.
Jeremy Forgy, Adam's still putting up crazy points
That's
for me on
fact,
fantasy. Though. That's the only reason why I would watch the Raiders.
That's a fact.
Look, if they fire McDaniels, I don't care if the Raiders lose out the rest of this year. I'm back on. You know what I mean? Because I like the players we got, but I just don't like not in McDaniel's system. Josh Hamilton, you saw how he left the Broncos for dead. 3 years later, they held the Lombardi. Hopefully, that's your fit, bro. I know, like I think Sir got. Look again. I'm not saying McDaniel's is horrible. Like he shouldn't be in the league. He just shouldn't be a head coach. He can go probably be offensive coordinator for a bunch of teams. But I think he needs that guy like Belichick over the top of him. Like, nah, bro, this is what we're gonna do. I got the rest of it. Just call plays. Because the Raiders putting up points, so it's not like they're like abysmal. You know what I mean? It's just the fact is they were up at least 10 points or more in 5 out of 6 losses. I mean, I'm sorry, 5 out of 7 losses, and they blew all those games. So, of course, Mark Davis is going to say, well, that's the defense. It's still on the head coach. Jeremy Forgy, good thing your GM thinks he's doing it. Next. Appreciate it, though, bro. You saw, let's see what else we got. Not so fast. Josh did have Matt Castle for a year. It took him to 11-5. He's a decent OC, but he's not a head coach to me. I agree.
No.
He's pretty good offensive coordinator if he has the right pieces, if he gets to handpick those pieces, but he's not a head coach, and the Raiders need it. Bisaccia was the guy. Look, man, I don't know what he was saying in those locker rooms, but the Raiders just coming out, they was like just beating the shit out of teams. You know what I mean? Like physically. And then they Carr make a throw or two at the end of the game, and they win. That's how they got to the playoffs. And they lost to the Bengals, and they were on, I think, the 7-yard line. That's how close they got to going to the divisional round. And now all of a sudden they're 2-7. Josh Hamilton, what's up with Chandler Jones? He's a half a sack. Nah, bro, it's him. It's him, because if you look at it, the way he closed out the year in Arizona was the same thing. You know what I mean? He just falls off. Like he gets like, he'll have a game probably next week against the Broncos or something because their left tackle's out. He's gonna have like probably 4 sacks in the game. He's gonna be up there all hooting and hollering like all hype. Fool's gold. Shane Fink, the Raiders need a coach like Brian Flores. The man made a bad Dolphins team disciplined. Imagine what he could do.
Chill, he on my squad. Chill. Oh, nah, my linebackers is playing ball right now. Relax.
It could be Flores. It can be, you know what I mean? Like,
you gonna get Frank Wright from the Colts?
I don't care. No, I don't care if they hire Bisaccia again. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care if they go get racist ass Gruden. Like somebody, bro. Somebody that this team they'll play well for. Y'all know how it was. There was a team on the Raiders. There's a player on the Raiders last year named Alec Ingold, fullback. He was a fullback who come out the backfield, catch passes. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he's Juszczyk from San Fran, but he's good. He caught a touchdown for Miami this week. Raiders just cut him and didn't even tell him. He found out on Twitter. McDaniels cut him, found out on Twitter. He plays for Miami, just caught a touchdown. This is what I mean. You know what I mean? Like all the things about him being cocky and stuff like that, I'm starting to see it. Jeremy Forgy, Josh Jacobs having a hell of a year, so it's definitely Jacobs is running the ball well, man. Like got like 8 touchdowns. Yeah, so like look, man, it's not the players, and I can pick apart what Derek is doing this year. I don't think he wants to play in the system because he didn't look like that last year. So unless he fell off a cliff, like it's on the system, it's on the head coach. So that's all we got for the Raiders. All right, man. Let's look forward to week 11. All right. Besides the Raider game, I don't talk about that. All right, so week 11, let's go. We started off Thursday night football, Titans and the Packers. Who you got in that one?
Green
Bay. Even though Titans won,
it's in Lambeau, right?
Yeah. Even though Titans won 6 out of 7.
Yeah, I got Green Bay. The Titans ain't even playing nobody. I got Green Bay.
I'm going Titans. I do not believe in the Packers at all.
I understand. I got Green Bay literally because it's in Green Bay.
And to answer the question, Josh Sheem, yes, this is Jacobs' final year of his contract. He will be a free agent. And I have a feeling he's going to leave, but I hope he stays. If McDaniels go.
Watch him go to Buffalo.
Probably. And be a monster. All right. Next up, we got Chicago and Atlanta. Both teams are not quite there yet. As they say, probably a year away. You know what I mean? As they say. Who you got?
You ain't going to like this. Justin Fields going to win that game.
I mean, I don't know why. I personally don't care, but I'm going Atlanta. I like the way they run the ball. I mean, I call me old school. I love the way they run the ball. I really do. I got Atlanta in that game. And Jeremy, of course, just said he likes that idea of Jacobs going to Buffalo. Yo, he's what I call an old school back. You know what I mean? So I mean, there's a bunch of teams who could use him. Probably go to Kansas City just out of spite. All right, next up, Philadelphia coming off their first loss of the year, playing the Indianapolis Colts, as they call the Fighting Jeff Saturdays. Does Jeff Saturday get his second win of his coaching career?
Hell no, I'm not. I'm not picking the Colts on nothing. I'm not picking the Colts. I got the Eagles all day. Like no, because they didn't even go. Just no, just no. That's all I got to say to that. Just no.
All right, so Josh Ian got his picks for the first few games. He got us going Titans. He agrees with you on Fields, Bears. He's saying Colts over Philly. Fighting Jeff Saturday. Jeff Saturday ain't gonna ever lose a game. Next, you know, Stephen A. Smith gonna be coaching the Lakers soon.
Hell no.
He says Jets, but then he says he's joking. You know, it's Patriots all day. We all know he's a Patriots fan. All right, so before we get to these next set of games, obviously, Devontae, I'm gonna get your pick on the Jets and Patriots as well. All right, E-Man got Packers, he got the Bears, he got the Colts over Philly again, and he got the Patriots over the Jets. All right, Jets, Patriots, who do you got?
I got the Pats.
Got the Pats, okay.
Zach Wilson has one of the easiest jobs I've ever seen, and he's still gonna screw it up. Like,
damn.
I'm not a Zach Wilson fan. Like, he's another one where it's like, yo, bro, just don't screw it up.
Right.
Like, his turnover rate is terrifying. Like,
I got you.
Like, I'm just saying, the Jets made a mistake. I told the Jets people immediately.
Right.
When Zach Wilson was in college, I said the Jets made a mistake. Put Justin Fields on that team and watch what happens. You give Justin Fields a Breece Hall and all these people and that damn defense. Watch what happens. You put Justin Fields on the Niners.
Right.
Are you kidding me? You put Justin Fields on the Niners. That's crazy.
All right. But Jeremy said
I don't believe in the Jeff
Saturday. Go ahead.
I'm not. No, we don't.
Jeff Saturday don't lose, bro.
No.
Jeremy Ford, you picked the upset last week. He's saying Colts over Eagles. Jeff Saturday, man, he's gaining steam.
No.
Josh said Philly's gonna be 8-9 to finish.
No, Jeff Saturday be on PTI by the end of the year.
All right, let's get to these next slate of games. Starting out, we got Commanders and Texans.
That's a game actually I want to see just off running the ball strength, but I'll go to Commanders.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think
I low-key
Commanders. I think Commanders gonna make that division interesting. I still think they're gonna be the last team out. I mean, but I think they're gonna start to make that interesting. Next up, Super Bowl champs, defending champs, who somehow fell way off the map against the New Orleans Saints. Jameis might be back, might not though.
I don't even care. This game's gonna be so boring. I guess I'll go to Rams to be calling it. I guess, but like. Actually, no, I'll go to Saints because I don't think Cooper Kupp going to play. So I guess I'll go to Saints.
No, he's not playing, actually. He's definitely not playing. He's a high ankle sprain. He ain't playing.
Yeah, man.
All right, so we know who Jeremy got in this next one. Cleveland Browns at the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, it's actually in Buffalo. They ain't losing another game, but they losing no more games in Buffalo. They about to destroy the Browns. Like,
the only thing I'm worried about, I know some of us in the northeast supposed to get some snow. I don't know what the forecast is for Buffalo, but Cleveland could run the rock. You know what I mean? So like, if it's inclement weather, I say watch that game as a possible upset. But if it's like clean game in terms of weather, then I think the Bills are gonna win.
I don't think Jacoby Brissett is gonna outdo Josh Allen.
Gotcha. Panthers. Baker Mayfield is back as starting quarterback due to the injury to PJ Walker. So Baker Mayfield against Lamar Jackson, who's coming off the bye. Who do you got? Panthers, Ravens.
If the Ravens don't beat them by 40, I'll be scared. I'll be scared.
No, I got you. All right, and that one I'm going Ravens. I just can't see the Panthers doing that. Comments, we got Jeremy Forgy. We lose this game. Come on. Damn, bro, chill. Josh Commanders, Bills, Ravens. Saying the Saints is snooze fest. Saints, Rams.
So boring. It's gonna be so boring.
I agree. It said Jeremy Forgy United was like crisis and lifeline. Yeah, crazy, yo. All right. So now we got the next slate of the games, obviously, and then we'll get out of here, of course. Lions, Giants.
I got Detroit.
I got the Giants.
I got Detroit.
Horrible. They can't stop the run. That's right up the Giants' alley. I think Giants beat them.
I got Detroit. I'm going. That's my upset for the week. That's my upset pick.
And what should be the WWE lose your job a match? We got the Raiders, Broncos. This should be the fireball. Whoever loses get fired. Apparently, Josh McDaniels ain't getting fired. Who you got, Raiders or Broncos country? Let's ride.
Oh, all right. So for fantasy purposes, I'm gonna go with the Raiders. I need Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs to get to work. Please and thank you. So I'm gonna go for my fantasy purposes. I'm going the Raiders.
I mean, I refuse to believe if McDaniels loses out that they won't fire him. I refuse to to believe that. So for this week and this week only, Broncos country, let's ride. All right, Cowboys, Vikings.
Vikings.
Think Dallas gonna lose back-to-back games?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. That's a tough one. This one is tough. I don't quite see how this is going. I think Micah Parsons might have a big week, and Dallas always for some reason plays good against Kirk Cousins, but I'm gonna go Vikings as well because of their defense. All right, so I'm not even gonna ask you who you think is gonna win this game.
You asked me this. No, you asked me this game because this is the game that's gonna make me uncomfortable. Okay.
All right, so we got Cincinnati at Pittsburgh.
We gonna win this game, right? But here's the thing about I don't like how we're gonna win this game. We're gonna win this game, but I'm gonna have to listen to all these people on Jeff Saturday show, First Take, and get up at ESPN. Are the Steelers back? Are the Steelers for real? No, we're not. We are not back. We are not for real. We're no playoff contender. No. This year, if anything, we will be spoiler. We're in that. The way I see us is how we're gonna be like the Commanders, where we're just gonna be spoiling a lot of teams' hopes and dreams. But we are not there yet. We suffered a little too much without having TJ and stuff like that. We're a very young group. But do I think we're gonna beat the Bengals again? Yes. Why? Because their offensive line still is not solved yet.
And Watt's back. We
saw what happened the first time. And then more importantly, who knows if Jamar is going to play or not? I can't see the Bengals beating us without Jamar.
Okay. And that one, I'm going with the Bengals. I think Bengals starting to get their running game back, and Steelers offense. I just question how they're going to put up points. I think Bengals, it's going to be a dogfight. The Bengals ain't getting shut out.
200 yards last week, by the way.
I know.
We have 200 yards, by the way.
Josh got Giants, Broncos, Vikings, Bengals, and Steelers will always have a good game, but Bengals. Yeah, Bengals, Steelers, it's always a good game, no matter what.
It's just without Jamar, though, I don't see it. Without Jamar,
Jeremy got Lions, Raiders. Don't pick the Raiders, please don't. I need them to lose. If they lose,
we got them on fantasy, bro. We got Devontae.
Bro, if they lose out, I'm convinced they have no choice but to fire McDaniels. They need to lose out.
At least lose a high scoring game. We need these points.
All right, so we're gonna get I believe this is the last slate of games. Obviously, it kicks off. We know the Bengals Steelers game was flex. That was the original Sunday night game. The last two games, of course, we got the Chiefs and the Chargers. Obviously, the top two teams in the AFC West. Chargers are nowhere near as good as everyone said they were, and the Chiefs obviously still the class of the division. Who do you got? Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, or Justin Herbert and the Chargers?
I got the Chiefs by 14. Even without Juju, because Juju got murdered.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
I hope he's doing well. Speedy coverage to him, but I got the Chiefs by 14. I just don't see it with the Chargers. I've told you, unlike everybody else, I've told you I've never been a fan of the Chargers wide receivers at all. I always told you Keenan Allen was stupid overrated. I told you Keenan Allen was incredibly overrated a long time ago. I told you Mike Williams was incredibly overrated a long time ago. Echoes are good back, but like no, the Chargers just don't got enough. And I think Brandon Staley is the true ass Madden coach of all time, going for it on 4th and 8. So like you ain't gonna win nobody. You ain't winning no games in the league going on 4th and 8.
Right. All right, and then last but not least, of course, I mean, I'm with that one. I'm going to Chargers. Actually, although I don't like the Chargers team, I think they got a little revenge game for that first that Thursday night game. I think Chargers will beat them. I still think Chiefs win that division though. And last but not least, we got E-Man's 49ers, Jimmy G and the crew versus Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. Who do you got?
Niners by 3 touchdowns.
3 touchdowns. Damn! Yo!
Niners by 3 touchdowns. Kyler Murray got a hamstring injury. They better blow out Colt McCoy. Are we for real? Colt McCoy?
Bro, in the NFL, 3 touchdowns?
3 touchdowns. 21.
Damn,
21.
son.
21. Bro, 21. Don't get me wrong. D-Hop is my guy. DeAndre Hopkins is my personal favorite receiver in this league. I think DeAndre Hopkins can do anything everybody else can do in this league. Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson's. Devontae Adams is my favorite all-around receiver in this league. But bro, Colt McCoy.
No, I get it. We
ain't talking like what 06 Colt McCoy from the Texas Longhorns.
Yeah, I know.
When he was in NCAA 07 or whatever. We ain't talking about that Colt McCoy.
I'm with you.
Colt McCoy. Are you serious? With that Niners defense, with that running game with McCaffrey and them boys and Debo, they better not 3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns.
All right, man.
3.
I got the Niners. We know who E-Man's gonna roll with. He's gonna roll with his Niners, of course. All right, man. Let's get to these comments. The last 3 comments we got. 4, I'm sorry. Why did Steelers let Juju and Claypool go? Did I miss something? Felt like they were decent wide receivers.
Juju, honestly, we didn't have enough money to pay him. Claypool, we let Claypool go because we got George Pickens. George Pickens is the next wide receiver 1 on our team. It's not like he's a problem. He's just as big. He's big. He's big as hell. He can catch any type of pass you need. His hands are ridiculous. Claypool's biggest problem is Claypool don't know how to keep his feet. Everything with Claypool has to be a diving catch. Right. Like he can't catch and run. He's not a great route runner like George Pickens is. George Pickens does everything either that Claypool does better, just as good, or he does exceptionally better. Right. So with the fact that where you can trade him and get a 2nd round pick, which he was a 2nd round pick, it's called being smart. And Juju, Juju wants to do dances in the TikToks and stuff like that, which is like, yo, bro, like no, like this is a little like nah, that's not what we do. But like Juju's biggest thing is he can't create separation, and for a rookie quarterback, you need receivers who can get separation.
Hopefully Pickens is the guy, because going back to Antonio Brown, obviously was a great receiver, but they've had a tough time trying to find guys up here to play the game. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. AB, no issue with talent. Juju, no issue with talent. Claypool, no issue with talent. It's all up here.
Yeah,
so
some weird stuff.
Pickens is like remarkably quiet. I think they went out and got him because of that. You know what I mean? He don't even talk. So hopefully it's that. But yo, that's all we got for this week's show. Y'all, appreciate all the love and support. Sheen, E-Man, Jeremy, DJ R&B, Nate, Matt, all you guys appreciate it. We'll be back next week. And of course, if y'all want to be on the show, man, just let me know. Y'all all know how to find me. Hit me up throughout the week, and definitely get you on the show for next week. Gridiron podcast. I'm gonna catch y'all next week. Devontae, let them know where they can find y'all, and then we'll catch y'all next week.
At Devontae Forever. Also on Devontae Former, we're doing a Christmas bracket right now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Holler at me. You know what I'm saying? We got the Christmas bracket coming down to see what's the GOAT Christmas movie of all time.
All right, yo. Peace out. Later.